Number 202, self-esteem is the way you conceive of or see yourself, true or false. So self-esteem is the way you conceive of or you see yourself, true or false. So the answer is what? False. Okay. You're welcome to Johnson Praise TV. This is the part 3 of the Psych 102 Pasco review. Okay, and this one I'm going to solve true or false questions with you. That's what true or false. Okay, it's going to be 100 questions, true or false. Feeling, okay, a lot of feeling questions, and then there's also going to be that's what some theory questions to solve with you. The first two videos were centered on what? Multiple choice. That's what 110 questions. So if you have not watched that video, check. And if you're not subscribed to, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. So without wasting my time, let's get started. We are going to solve 100 questions in this video, and it is not good to solve really less than 200 questions, since your lecturer will be giving you 100 questions. So it's good to solve like 300, and I have 300 questions I want to solve with you. So after this video, if I'm not able to solve well, because it has left with 200, which I'm expecting to solve 100 questions with you on this video, sorry, and if I'm not able to finish, I'll continue with the part 4, right? So make sure you watch all the videos and it will guide you. And also make sure that I've answered, I've tried to minimize mistakes. Do you get it? But you can also try your best to also check some of the answers. Do you get it? The questions are many, so you can't get every answer right. Maybe there may be one or two mistakes. Do you get it? So make sure you also try and check. But the idea is to just understand the question and move on. So number 202 says ideal self is your vision of your future self, true or false? That's true. Number 203, having a healthy self concept means not allowing yourself to be what? To be a slave to other people's opinions. So this is true. Yes, having a healthy self concept about what means that not allowing yourself to be what? To be enslaved to other people's opinion. Number 204, most people who always need to tell about their what accomplishments are actually what compensating in some way of what low esteem. It's true. Yes, this is true. Number 205, focusing on a single strength to compensate for overall bad feelings about oneself is a good way to build high self-esteem. This is false. This is what? False. Number 206, it says that people with low esteem can more readily accept their co-workers and take criticisms from others in their work teams. Okay, this is what false. So people with what? Low self-esteem, they don't do that. It's people with high self-esteem. Let's look at number 207. Number 207 says that it refers to what? Warm closeness and sharing in is called executive or working memory. So okay, so the answer is what? Short-term memory. So there was what? Dash was. So short-term memory refers to what? A warmth, closeness, and sharing in what? And sharing in a. Okay, sorry. So the answer, the question there's some confusion issue. It would have been that dot here, or do you get it? So this is what? A short-term memory. 208. Positive self-talk leads to a low self-esteem. This is false. Positive self-talk leads to what? Low self-esteem. No, it leads to high self-esteem. Number 209. A confederate is a person who is aware of the experiments and works for the what? For the researcher. It's true. So a confederate, right? A confederate is a person who is aware of the experiment and works for the researcher. Number 210, the experiment on conformity was done by Stanley Milgram. This is false. This is what? False. So let's look at some theory questions here. This is some true or false questions. We are not done. This is part one of the true or false questions. We'll come back to the other true or false questions. Let's look at 211. It says what? List 5 strategies to increase one's self-esteem. List any 5 factors that affect what learning. List 5 qualities of what close friends, and then state 5 problems in marriage. And then 215 says list 3 what domains of learning. So let's look at the strategies to increase one's self-esteem. So one of them is what? Practice self-acceptance. Okay, so embrace who you are and build what? Your flaws and strengths, which includes what? Your flaws and strengths. So before you be able to what? Increase your self-esteem, you need to accept who you are. Also set and achieve small goals. Okay, set and achieve small goals. So you have to what? Accomplish small tasks and to boost your confidence before you even think of the major tasks. Another one is engage in positive self-talk. Okay, this is where you replace negative thoughts with positive what? Affirmations, and also develop new skills or hobbies. Okay, this is where you learn new things to embrace self-worth, and also surround yourself with what? Supportive people. So people that are very negative, you have to stay away from them and surround yourself with what? People who are what? Supportive. Okay, so positive relationship foster what? Foster a healthy self-image. Let's look at number 202, which is what? The factors of what? Factors that affect learning. So we have motivation. Motivation is a strong desire to learn and improve what? Focus and retention. It's one of the factors that affect learning. Another one is what? Prior knowledge. So existing knowledge helps in understanding new information. Another factor is learning environment. So a conducive environment enhances what? Concentration. Another factor that affects learning is what? Teaching method. So effective methods align with what? The listener's needs. Okay, and then the last one is what? Individual difference. So personal abilities and learning styles impact comprehension. Impact what? Comprehension. Let's look at number 213. Qualities of close friends. So qualities of close friends includes what's up together, trustworthiness, we have supportiveness, we have honesty, we have what? Reliability and empathy. So when you say trustworthiness, it means what? Dependable friends that foster what? Secure relationship. So dependable friends would foster secure relationship. If the person is trustworthy, you can rely. Supportiveness, the person should be able to offer some support, some help, okay, to you, which will strengthen your bond. Also, if a person is a good friend or a person is a close friend, there's some kind of what? Truthfulness. Okay, it builds some kind of what? Truthfulness and mutual respect. And then reliability, so consistency in actions and words reinforce what? Trust. And empathy, understanding each other's feelings depends on what? Connection. Let's look at number 214, problems in marriage. So problems in marriage includes what? Communication issues. It includes financial disagreement. It includes lack of intimacy. It includes of what? It includes difference in values or goals. And then the last one is what? Infidelity. So when you talk of communication, poor communication leads to that misunderstanding, and also financial disagreements, money related affect, or probably what? Conflict, or it strains relationship, right? Money related issue, the woman will be fighting, man will be fighting, there's some kind of what brings issue. And lack of what? Intimacy, emotional and what? Physical disconnect weakens the bond. So if you are not emotionally and physically connected, it weakens what? The bond. And also difference in values or goals. So divergent life views create attention. I'm a teacher, you're a nurse. Anything I talk about, you don't believe it. It always what goes like that. We quarrel, we fight all the time. So it will what? It will bring a lot of issues, and also infidelity. So breach of trust can lead to what? Breakdown of the relationship. So infidelity, if you're fond of cheating, it can bring what? It creates an issue of what? Infidelity, where there's what? A loss of what? Trust. So, or truthfulness and faithfulness in the relationship. Let's look at them. Number 250, domain of learning. We have cognitive. So cognitive involves mental skills like what? Thinking, understanding, and problem solving. That's all about cognitive. Affective. So cognitive domain, affective domain. So affective, what? It relates to what? Emotions, attitudes, and what? Values, right? And we have what? Psychometer. So psychometer concerns what? Physical skills and what? Coordination. So let's look at so the physical skills and what? Coordination is called what? The psychometer. Let's look at number 216. It says that at first, Kennedy did not like his teacher, but after sitting in this teacher's class for a number of weeks, Kenny started to like his teacher. The new perspective would be an example of a bystander effect. True or false? This is false. It is not a bystander effect. Okay, so number 217. Habituation is often referred to as what? The simplest form of learning. True or false? Yes, it's true. 218. Another name for operant conditioning is instrumental learning. True or false? The answer is true. Number 219. According to psychologists, one of the attributes of learning is that it's compared to other changes due to what? Due to learning takes longer to occur. So it's true. So according to psychologists, one of the attributes of learning that compared to other change due to what? Learning takes what? Longer to occur is true. Yes. Number 220. Operant conditioning is a functionalist theory of learning. This is false. So it is not what? A functionalist theory of learning. And 221. A person suffering from what? Anterograde, okay, and amnesia, okay. Anterograde what? Amnesia cannot remember things from the past. What? From the past. This is what? False. Okay, this is retrograde what? Amnesia, right? What we are talking about is what? The retrograde. This is what? It is the other way around. So let's look at the 222. Number 222. According to social psychologists, we explain our behaviors and those of others through the process of disposition. Is false. It is not the process of disposition. 223. Behavioral changes that cannot be classified as learning include fatigue. This is so true. It's true. According to Pavlov's experiment, the UCS was the salivation. That's false. The salivation. That's what? False. Number 225. When cognitive dissonance occurs, people usually change their behaviors. It's true. It's true. Let's look at the filling questions here. There are some filling questions you need to look at. So condition stimulus elicit. So the answer is what? Condition response. 226. Condition elicit what? Condition response. 227. The reignition of what? Of the association between conditioned stimulus and the unconditioned stimulus is called reconditioning. 228. In treating child's molester, that is what? Pedophiles, right? Pictures of children are paired with strong electric shock. This is an example of what? Aversion therapy. 229. Rewarding the behavior when it occurs in a specific number of times is an example of which type of reinforcement. This is what fixed ratio reinforcement. Okay, and then 230. That 200 dash what dash is what. So that is what the view that information entered into the memory in one context or setting is easier to recall in that context than other. This is called what? Context dependent memory. This is what they view that the information entered into the memory in one context or setting is easier to recall in that context than others. Let's look at 231. 231. A young woman was gunned down at a gas station. A bus load of what? Onlookers. Okay, onlookers saw the entire event, and no one did anything. What social psychological phenomenon best accounts for this behavior? This is what bystander effect. Okay, this is a bystander effect. Okay, so they will be giving you things like this. Okay, so if you understand them, it becomes so easy. Number 2, what 32. Akwasi is what? A very rigorous person whose belief system opposes assumption of what? Alcohol. After years of unemployment since he graduated from the university, he is finally what? Offered a job at the alcoholic what? Beverage company. Out of options, Akwasi decides to take the job even though it goes against his core belief. From the social psychologist's point of view, Akwasi is likely to experience what we call what? So cognitive dissonance. Something you do not like, but out of options, now you tend to like it. You did not like a short guy, now you are grown, you are in your 40s. The tall guys are not approaching you again. So in your quest to now settle down with Shatabando and settle with him, it becomes what? Out of options, it becomes what? Cognitive dissonance. Or in your early age, you decide not to accept any guy because you have so many options. And now there were some specifications and some guys you like and other guys. Now you grown and the guys are not coming again. So in your quest to settle down with someone you didn't really like before is what is you're experiencing what we call cognitive dissonance. So the opportunity comes, you embrace it whilst it exists because it doesn't last forever. The old women you are seeing, they were once what? Younger like you, but one more time with him. That's how it is. So life is just like that. Let's look at the number 233. During a class group activity, Jean intentionally sat at the back of her group. She began browsing Facebook while her group members were working. Her idea was that since the group would be graded as collective, she will just add her name to the list when the other members are done with the work. In social psychology perspective, this behavior is an example of social loafing. In number 234, dash is what? Dash is the type of observational learning where individuals observe, reflect on their own behavior and evaluate it by their own standards and reinforce or punish themselves. This is called self-observation. Okay, or probably the reinforcement. Number 235. In not more than three sentences each, explain the following with examples: episodic memory and semantic memory. State 3 factors that can influence obedience. So in some in one sentence, explain the difference between social loafing and de-individuation. State 2 factors about a group that can pressure its members to conform. Explain the concept of groupthink. Mention 2 types of what social loafing. Explain social facilitation using at least one example. In not more than 2 sentences, explain what norms using an example, and then state 5 examples of problems in marriage. We have solved this already. List 3 domains of learning. We solved this already. List 3 resources of coping with stress, and on list 4 goals of psychology, and then the last one, list 5 behaviors that suggest someone has an intent to kill or him or herself. So let's look at it. So when you say episodic memory, refers to the ability to recall personal experiences and specific events in time, such as remembering your first day at school. Okay, that is what we call episodic memory. For example, recalling what you ate for breakfast yesterday is an instance of what episodic memory. B, semantic memory involves what the storage of general knowledge and facts about the world, like knowing that Paris is the capital of France. So it's an example of semantic memory. Okay, and it's recalling the meaning of the word. And also an example of semantic memory is recalling the meaning of the word apple. Let's look at 230. Says 3 factors that contribute to obedience are the presence of authority figure. That's 1. The legitimacy of the authority figure. That's 2. And the proximity of the authority figure to the individual. So that is the 3 factors that influence obedience. Let's look at number 237. Social loafing is often when an individual puts less effort when working in a group as compared to working alone, while the individuation refers to loss of self-awareness and individual accountability in group settings, leading to individual behavior that one might not typically inhabit. Let's look at number 238. So 2 factors about a group that can pressure its members to conform are 1, the desire to be accepted by the group, and 2, the perceived unanimity of the group's opinion. That is it. Let's look at number 239. Groupthink is a phenomenon where the desire for harmony and consciousness of the group leads to poor decision making, as members surpasses dissenting opinions and fail to critically evaluate alternatives. So that's called groupthink. Number 240. So we say 2 types of social learning are observational learning. This is where individuals learn by watching others, and also imitation, where they replicate the behavior they observe. Okay. So 241, social facilitation is a tendency for individuals to perform better on simple or well-learned tasks when in the presence of others. For example, a runner may run faster during a race when there is an audience cheering them. That's what called social facilitation. So let's look at this. Number 242. Norms are written rules or expectation for behavior within. So it says explain norms. So norms are unwritten rules and expectation for behavior within a group or society. For example, shaking hands when greeting someone is a social norm in many cultures. So it's a norm. So let's look at number 243. 5 problems in marriage includes what communication, financial disagreement, lack of what intimacy, difference in values, and what infidelity. Let's look at number 244. The 3 domains of learning are cognitive, affective, and what psychometer. Let's look at number 240. What 245. So 5 resources of what for coping with stress include what social support, physical exercise, relaxation techniques, time management, and counseling or therapy. These are what resources for coping with what stress. Let's look at 246. 4 goals of psychology are to describe, to explain, to predict, and control behavior and mental processes. This is what we learned this in what in level 100. So revise it. Number 247. 5 behaviors that suggest that someone has what the intent to kill themselves include what expressive feeling of what hopelessness. 2. Talking about what wanting to die. 3. Withdrawing from social activities. 4. Giving away prized possessions. And then 5. Displaying extreme mood swings. Displaying extreme mood swing. When we talk of mood swing, is unexpected what changes in someone's behavior. The person can be happy at the moment within a twinkle of an eye. The person will be sad. The person can be sad unexpectedly, that you realize the person is very happy. Some of these things are mood swings. Okay, let's look at 248. At first, Kenny did not like his teacher, but after sitting in his teacher's class for a number of weeks, Kenny started to like the teacher. This new perspective will be an example of bystander. No, it's false. We have solved this. 247. Okay. Habituation is often referred to what the simplest form of. So we have solved this also. That's what true. We said that another name for operant conditioning is what. Yes, we've solved this. Okay. I think.
Then our Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
I think I've solved these ones with you. I solved these ones with you. Okay. I think these ones have been solved. Okay, so let's now look at this one. So 261. Most people who always need to tell about their accomplishment are actually compensating in some way for low self-esteem. This is what true. Let's look at number 262. Focusing on a single strength to compensate for the overall bad feelings about oneself is a good way to build a high self-esteem. This is what false. This is 263. People with low self-esteem can more readily accept their co-workers and take criticism from others in their work teams. This is false. Children are most likely to develop a high self-esteem when parents praise them for the work done. It's true. The positive self-talk leads to low self-esteem is false. Okay, so a confederate is a person who is aware of the experiment and works for the researcher. This is also true. I think this one I solved. Okay, I solved these ones with you. Let's look at number 260. Okay, 268. 268. When a person experiences guilt or discomfort because he or she realizes that he or she is not being truthful with their friends, this person may be experiencing cognitive dissonance. So let's look at, according to the information processing model, the dash, that is what the sensory receive the sensory memory. Okay, so I think it's sensory memory. The sensory memory, I didn't bring the memory, receives information from what? From the environment and holds it briefly before sending it to the short-term memory. 270. In classical conditioning, the dash, that's the conditioned stimulus which previously did not elicit any response but now elicits a desired response after being paired with another stimulus, is the stimulus. Okay, so let's look at number 200. So the one that I've highlighted are the answers. Do you get it? 271. The new material increases forgetting the old material. The process is referred to as retroactive interference. Okay, retroactive interference. Let's look at number 272. At the start of the conditioning process, the conditioning stimulus dash, okay, the conditioning stimulus is neutral. 273. Kitty Genevieve, okay, Genevieve, okay. Kitty Genevieve was assaulted by what? A stranger. The person was assaulted by what? A stranger. Number 274. The large storage system in the human memory, according to the information processing model, is called the long-term memory. Number 275. An individual sees that his colleague has been jailed for stealing. He decides never to steal ever in his life. What type of learning has occurred? This is called vicarious learning. 276. In information study, in conformity studies, it is known that if group cohesiveness is high, dash, okay, so conformity increases. If the cohesiveness is high, then conformity increases. So number 10, psychologists, okay, I didn't bring it. 278. So 275. Okay, this 276. So psychologists who studies people's behavior in social situation or group situation are called social psychologists. 275. If a person cannot remember things from the past, they are likely suffering from the type of amnesia called retrograde amnesia. Let's look at number 278. Cognitive dissonance theory was proposed by Leon Festinger. Okay, into number 270. Okay, this is a bonus question. In social psychology, when a person changes their behavior to fit that of a group, it's known as what? Conformity. Okay, conformity. Number 279. Evans was at a pool party when someone began to drown in the pool. There were a lot of people watching people around watching. So Evans did not enter the pool. In the end, the person drowned and no one helped. Evans probably did not help due to what we call bystander effect. Bystander effect. Number 280. The second memory store the information. The second memory store in the information processing memory is called short-term memory. Short-term memory. 281. In Solomon asks conformity, what percentage of ordinary participants went along with the group answer at least once? That is about 75%. About 75%. 282. The ability to better remember information when an individual is placed in the same context within which the information was encoded into the memory is called context dependent memory. 283. What follows our behavior determine whatever we shall do to what we shall do it again or not. Okay, this is what an argument in operant conditioning. So what follows our behavior determine whether we shall do it again or not. It's what operant conditioning learning theory. Okay, so number 289. Shatawale is a person who is known to brag about his wealth and uses his wealth to insult anyone who tries to have what quarrel with him. Shatawale consistent what reference to his what wealth as his pride represent what kind of what self-esteem. This is what narcissistic self-esteem. Narcissistic what self-esteem. Okay. Number 290. An unconditioned stimulus elicit dash. It elicits what? An unconditioned response. Unconditioned stimulus elicit unconditioned response. Number 291. The reignition of the association between the conditioned stimulus and the unconditioned stimulus is called reconditioning. Number 293. A person with high IQ automatically has a high emotional intelligence. This is what emotional intelligence. That's what false. 294. In not more than 3 sentences, explain the following with an example. Okay, so episodic memory, motivation. It says what? State 3 factors that influence the development of self-esteem. 296. In one sentence, explain the difference between friendship and acquaintances. And 297. State 2 factors about a group that can pressure 8 members to conform. And then 298. State 2 conditions under which a situation can become stressful. 299. Mention 2 types of social learning. 230. Explain emotional intelligence. And 201 is what? In not more than 2 sentences, explain norm using an example. So let's go. Episodic memory. I've explained episodic memory, that is the ability to recall personal experiences and specific events from one's life, such as remembering your wedding day or your first job interview. Okay, so this type of memory allows the individual to mentally travel back in time to relive these events. And motivation is the internal or the external drive that compels the individual to take action towards a specific goal, such as studying hard for an exam due to the desire to achieve high grades or working extra hours to earn promotion. And let's look at 295. So 3 factors that can influence development of self-esteem are: 1, the level of parental support and engagement. 2, the quality of peer relationship. And then 3, personal achievement or successes. Let's look at 296. Friendship involve. So when they say friendship involve what? Friendship involves a close friend trusting, okay, trusting and supporting a supportive relationship, whereas acquaintanceship is what it's a more superficial connection without deep emotional bond, right? So that's the difference between them. So it says what the factors about a group that can pressure its members to conform, desire for social acceptance, and fear of rejection, as well as the influence of dominant or persuasive group leader. Okay, so these are two factors that can pressure a member to conform. And let's look at 298. Two conditions under which a situation can become stressful when when there is high level of uncertainty or lack of control over the outcome. Okay, when the demands of the situation exceeds the individual coping resources. And 299, two types of social learning are observational learning. Okay, so this is where you learn by watching others, and imitation is where you replicate observed behaviors. So 300, emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize, understand, manage, and utilize emotions effectively in oneself and others. It involves skills such as self-awareness, empathy, social regulations, which are crucial for building strong interpersonal relationship and making informed decision. So 301, it says norms are unwritten rules or expectation for behavior within group or society. For example, in many cultures, the norm is to wait in line for your turn, which helps to maintain order and fairness in setting. That's 301. Okay, so let's go back. Let me take you back to solve some of the questions that the 100 it has left with 90 multiple choice question. So I want to take you through like 40 of them or 60 of them, so that I don't release the last video, meaning the remaining ones I will not be able to solve it with you, but I believe the work I've done is enough. Okay, so I'm taking you back to 101. Okay, the questions I've solved with you too. When I meet them, I'll jump. So you check the past video. 111. Okay, so I'm taking you to 111. 111. The difference between a reinforcer and a punisher is that. So the answer is that I'm giving you the answer. The difference between them is that the reinforcer increases behavior while the punisher decreases behavior. That's the difference. So 112. Ivan Pavlov was a Russian social psychologist. He was a Russian psychologist. Number 113. Which of the following pioneers of learning was a Nobel laureate? Okay, laureate, which his name was called Ivan Pavlov. Laureate. Okay, so number 114. A businessman wanted to improve sales of his product and therefore hired a celebrity to advertise his product on TV commercial or in a TV commercial. Which of the following principle of learning applies to the businessman's strategy? This is called classical conditioning. So 115. If Dr. Arnold is a psychologist whose competence is in helping recruitment, selection, and training of employee, then Dr. Arnold is he is called industrial and organizational psychologist. 117. A group of activists, okay, a group of activists went on demonstration to protest what they believe to be systematic discrimination against certain people in their society. When some of the demonstrators saw that it would be hard for authorities to personally identify them and punish them, they began looting shops and destroying public property. In social psychology, this behavior of the looter it's an example of what we call the individuation. This is where you lose your self-esteem in the midst of people when you do what you do unusual thing. So number 118, in social conditioning, that is C, the neutral stimulus turns into conditioned stimulus after the conditioning processes is complete. After the conditioning processes is what complete. So in classical conditioning, the neutral stimulus turns into what a conditioned stimulus after the conditioning processes is complete. Number 119, Abba is 2 years old. Okay, so the first time she was taken to hospital, she was given a painful injection by a nurse, and in a green uniform, and she cried loudly for her for the next 5 visit. Okay, for her next 5 visit, she received such painful injection each time at the hospital by the same nurse. And she cried each time. After some time, Abba's mother observed that she started crying loudly just at the sight of the nurse, even when the nurse was not going to give any injection on the visit. In terms of classical condition, the nurse would represent what we call a neutral stimulus before the injection. Okay, so the nurse will represent the neutral stimulus before the first injection, right? So let's move ahead. So, but if it is about there was also one question that asks about the nurses the nurse in green shirt. Okay, what it represents. So you should be able to check that question for the correct answer. It is in either the second video or the first video. Let's look at number 120. Abba's behavior of responding to the nurse. Okay, so Abba's behavior of responding to the nurse the same way she would respond to a painful injection is an example. Okay, this is what we call, it's an example of a classical conditioning. It's a classical conditioning. So read the story below and answer questions that follow. So Desmond is a new school. Desmond is new to a school. He finds that on a particular days in that school, a group of Muslim students roam around on campus giving out leaflet and speaking to people to convert to Islam. Desmond got interested and joined. After a while, he found out that the group he joined had a normal trend of behavior where everyone wears white flowing gowns on Fridays to pray. To show his commitment, he also saved some money and sewed a white flowing gown to blend in with the group. Desmond's friends Desmond's friends back home heard that he had converted to Islam in school, but one particular friend, Jeffrey, did not believe it. All other friends were happy and praised Desmond for finding a religion, but Jeffrey did not give any praise because he did not believe the story. Then one day he was showing in a video in which Desmond was wearing a white flowing gown and performing Islamic prayer with a group of Muslims. Jeffrey then began to believe and join his other friends to praise Desmond. So 121, it says that what to know. So it's 121. It says that the norm that influenced Desmond's decision to wear white flowing gown in order to blend with the group is probably what we call it's called descriptive norm. Let's look at number 122. Desmond joining the group and change of dressing can and change of dressing can. So Desmond joining the group and his change of dressing can be described as what? Can be described as conformity. Conformity. Let's look at number 23. Jeffrey's change of attitude towards Desmond's story after seeing the video was as a result of what? What we call informational what? Influence. Information. And this is where you do not believe something, but you experience it before believing it. Let's look at number 124. Desmond's decision to change his dressing style to wear white flowing gown to gain more acceptance in the group was as a result of what? It was as a result of what? Normative influence. Normative influence. Number 125. Ghanaian society has many social norms. For example, there are norms that this what there are norms about what? About describing dressing, or norms about what? Dressing to lectures. When the norm is breached, the consequence may just be weird looks from what? Others. Maybe just weird looks from others. But some norms are more serious. For example, if a person lost her husband, she is expected to mourn for some time. If she stops mourning too early, accusations may be leveled against her and she may become ostracized, ostracized in her community. In social psychology, the norm about dressing will reflect dash, while the norm about mourning will reflect what. So the answer is what? See, the norm for what? The norm about dressing will reflect what? Descriptive norm, and then while the norm for mourning will reflect what? Injunctive norm. Injunctive or norm. Let's look at number 126. Which type of memory holds information that we cannot what? Readily remember where and when it is acquired? It is acquired where we acquired it. This is called what? Semantic memory. Semantic memory. 127. Information, the situation where all the material increases, forgetting the new material is called proactive what? Interference. Proactive interference. 128. Kekeli suffered a seizure and what? And when he regained what? He regained consciousness. He could not remember anything in the past, including even his own father. A psychologist evicted his what? Parents to take him back to the village where he was raised by what? By his parents to help him recover his memory. The psychologist is basing his advice on the concept of what we call context dependent memory. Context dependent memory. 128 it says that 128 says that the difference between this declarative memory and episodic memory is that the difference between them is that the episodic memory is a type of what? Declarative memory. It's a type of declarative memory. 130, local football team in Achiakrom went to play a match at Obuasi against Obuasi United. The supporters could not got them, could not go with them, right? So they lost the match by 3-0 in their return match. At their home soil, they managed to beat Obuasi United by 5-0. The team of psychologists told us the sports journalists that the Achiekrom team lost the first match in Obuasi because all the supporters in the stands were hostile Obuasi supporters. The psychologist is simply saying that there's what? High social inhibition what occurred. High social inhibition occurred. Number 131. If you avoid teaching If you avoid touching your father's television remote because your elder brother touched it once and received a severe spanking from your father, your avoidance of the remote control is due to what we call, it's called what, vicarious learning. Vicarious learning. Avoids what Nanama Nanama avoids boys because her best friend dated a boy once and got pregnant. Her her friends' parents were disappointed in her, and Nanama had to quit school and sell by the roadside to cater for herself and the baby because the boy who impregnated her denied responsibility. For Arnold, he avoided girls because a long time ago he pro, he proposed love to a girl and got harshly what, insulted by the girl. From psychological point of view, Nanama's avoidance of boys is caused by what, Arnold's avoidance of girls because what, because of what. So it's, I'm taking it from psychological point of view. Nanama's avoidance of boys is caused by dash, and Arnold's avoidance of girls is caused by what. So Naname's avoidance of boys is caused by what we call what, classical conditioning, and then the Arnold's avoidance of girls is caused by what, vicarious learning. So that is what C. Number 133. In Stanley Milgram's experiment on the rule of obedience, okay, the 20 out of what, the 72 was the subject who was being observed and did not know what experiment was, what the experiment was, or what was being studied. So this is what we call what, the learner. So 134, two characteristics of what, of sensory memory are that are what, it is what, it is high capacity and what, short duration. It has a high capacity and what, short duration. Okay, so Derek has learned to what, to drive using what, manual transmission cars. Okay, so his company gives him a car a car for his work duties, and the car has been on automatic, has been an automatic transmission. Anytime Derek has what, anytime Derek is driving a car, he find himself shifting automatic gear anytime he brakes, as if he were what, as if he as if he was driving a manual car. What is happening to Derek as described? This is called what? Proactive inference. Proactive inference. All right. Let's look at number 136. One key attribute of learning is that it is what? Experience causes the change. Experience what causes the change. 137. The sensory memory holds dash, okay? The sensory memory holds what? Visual information for less than a second and auditory information for a few seconds. That's D. Number 138. A scratch and wind promotion is an example of what? Operant condition. Operant condition. Number 139. A group of activists, okay, a group of activists have decided to use multiple channels. That's what, education, naming and what, shaming, naming and shaming, and then demonstration and protest to gradually get Ghanaian society to become more accepting of homosexual practices. What activists have planned reflects what we call what, social influence campaign. A social influence campaign. So let's look at number 140. Jane and Kerry are involved in altercation, okay, I think it's occultation. Okay. So Jane and what Kerry are involved in what altercation. That that is what captured on tape. The video in the video, Jane is seen talking with what with her young son when Kerry attacks her. Jane falls on the ground and Kerry assaulted her, ultimately punching and kicking her dozens of what of times. A group of individuals gathered around and gathered around the two women. Okay, so they take out their cell phones to record the fight. They do not help Jane or call for help. The behavior of the group is an example of what which of them is social. So the answer is what bystander effect. Bystander effect. And then 141, it says what the fundamental attribution error occurs when a person underestimates or does not what consider attribute and focus too much on what on attributes or personal factors. This is called what this is a seasonal and what dispositional. So 140 what 2, conformity is good when it leads us to follow things like safety rules and rules of social respect. Okay, that's what the conformity we are talking about. 143, one way which classical conditioning theory of learning is applied in business is by what marketing celebrity advertise products. Okay, so making what celebrities advertise products. 144, Naomi is a staunch Christian who believes that the sale of what consumption of alcohol is bad and sin. Lack of alternative job has forced Naomi to take the job offer she got from what the Casapreco company, which is an alcoholic beverage company. Naomi would possibly suffer what we call what cognitive dissonance. 145, Boachi was experiencing problem in his romantic relationship during the period of what his school exams. He performed poorly. His friend Edward concluded that Boachi is actually a dumb person, so he is not surprised he failed exams. Social psychologists would say that Edward is committing what we call fundamental attribution error. 146, Hola entered a room for the first time and noticed the sound of what whirling ceiling fan above. However, after being in the room for 3 hours, Hola no more felt what disturbed by the sound of the fan and could even barely notice it. What is happening to the situation? This is what we call what this is 146 is called what habituation. Number 147, a group of activists decided to use multiple education. So this one I've already had it with you. The answer was what social influence campaign. Number 148, Jane and Kerry were involved in this. Is okay. I've also solved this with you. That's what bystander effect. Okay, 149, the fundamental attribution error occurred. Okay, so I've also solved this. 150, conformity is good when it leads to. So I think all these ones have been solved with you. I've solved these ones with you. Okay, so let's look at this. A person who disapproves the killing of another human being, no matter who they are, however, when thrust in the middle of war, such person may kill to survive. This is what we call what situational norms. It's called situational norms. Okay, so I've solved a lot of questions with you. This is what I've solved. I solved 100 questions, and after the 100 questions, I've solved 150 questions. So 150 questions in this video. If you want this video to an end, please, I do travel and tour. If you have somebody who is traveling or you want to travel either to study abroad or either you want to go and work or you want to go and study, you need a passport service, get in touch with me. God bless you for watching. Thank you.